Hi, Primas. I'm Roxy,
And I'm Giselle.
and this is the ForLasPrimas podcast. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone.
How are you doing? This has been a crazy season. I always feel like December is the craziest month of the year.
It goes by so fast. I feel like the weeks are like dragging, and then like after it gets to Wednesday, it's like, boo, Friday.
No, the weekend. The weekends are so precious. They're
Yeah, they
so
are.
short.
The weekends are really precious in December.
Yeah. How many patients have you been seeing? Because you've been in your new job now for 2 months-ish?
Let's just say since September.
That flew.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've been doing this for a month. How's it going? Okay. So since September, how are
Yeah.
you feeling?
It's good. I like the work that I do. Sometimes I'm talking to patients and I can feel I get goosebumps sometimes when I feel like I'm I'm helping them because I can, you can tell like when you're really helping people.
I wish you were my OB. Should I just come to Tampa for
Just for
medical
care.
care?
Honestly, probably no.
Yeah, I
Still.
don't think so. Are you noticing that women are really stressed out? Is that like a common theme that you're feeling out of your female
Yeah,
patients?
for sure. Everyone's super stressed, whether they're pregnant or not. I always start my annuals. I'll be like, "How are you? How's life?" And they're like,
How many start crying? Because I would just start crying probably. Be like, oh my
I've had
God.
yeah. I mean, I've had like one probably start crying and then I'm like, "Okay." But for the most part, they always answer me back like,
It's not good.
"It's
It's not
life."
good out there. uh, well, in the same vein of medical care, I think we should start a segment called Things Men in Power Talk About That Require a Muzzle, like an immediate muzzle. There's too many men having too many damn opinions out there and lacking any type of degree. What was
Yeah.
the country we were talking about that is now requiring
In
any
China.
that they're requiring any influencer must have a degree if they're talking about anything law related or medical. We need to bring that to the US because RFK Jr., our US Secretary of Human Health and Services, went on to publicly push a breastfeeding agenda on national television. He said something along the lines of all of the ingenuity of corporate America has not produced an infant formula that is superior in nutrition and all the qualities that we want to the infant formula that God made, which is the infant formula in a mother's breast. So RFK, after all of this pushback women have had to make against the breast is best philosophy, is going out there and informing men who have no freaking idea because there's nobody else he's talking to. He's not talking to women who have birthed children about breastfeeding. He's telling other men, women actually can breastfeed and they should, and it's better for the babies.
Some women don't have a choice.
We have a choice to try. It isn't always successful because every birth is different. Every post-traumatic birthing experience can lead to different reactions in women's bodies. And to say that basically infant formula has no nutrition, I have one of the brightest children and he was formula fed from 2.5 months on.
You know what though? I think that we were formula fed. At least like
I was formula fed.
my mother, she probably breastfed for like a month or so and then was just like, nah.
My mom had no guilt in that decision either. My
Mhm.
mom was like, I'm trying to do this, not working, formula. It's okay. We have formula. I had a really hard time breastfeeding. And I think that being in social media, I had a lot of guilt. I cried so much and blamed myself for probably the first year that like I didn't give my child enough nutritional value, that I couldn't. I had no supply. I power pumped. I lived on my couch every 3 hours for a full month trying and trying and trying, and it wasn't happening. When I tell you the quality of everyone's life went up when I decided we're just going to formula, everybody's quality of life. My son was less fussy because he wasn't hungry. My husband was able to like support me because I was no longer in like a state of like psychosis. So I just think this is so dangerous.
It is dangerous. I worked postpartum as a nurse for like 6 months or so. In that time, we have to help breastfeed a lot because I would work night shift and the lactation consultants aren't in. It was so hard for me to see my patients struggling to breastfeed. Babies don't want to latch. Some babies that are tongue tied. Like it was just really, really hard. And majority of nurses will tell you that helping moms breastfeed is the hardest thing. Like, we are bent over, like, with a boob and a baby, and we're like, "Please!" And the sweat is dripping down your back. Like, you're frustrated, the baby's frustrated, the mom's frustrated, everybody's like, "Please, please, please," and sometimes it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, if we did have less limitations around, like, the amount of lactation support services that exist out there, because a lot of people you have to pay extra for lactation services,
Mhm.
and it's not cheap, and it's worth it, I think, if you have the means. For people who have low economic status, they're just trying to keep their baby alive, or
Mhm.
even me, like, I didn't have a low economic status when my child was born, and I decided mentally, this is not working for me. And formula did great. And to put a statement out there that formula is less nutritious is so incredibly dangerous because
Mhm.
children thrive on formula. Like you said,
Yeah.
we were formula fed kids. Like a lot of kids in the 90s were formula fed, and I feel like nobody thought twice about it. They're just
Mhm.
like, "Oh, this is the option."
And I'm
So
sure
I
the
think
formula now is better than the formula from the '90s.
Has to be. But what's the echo chamber of women in the socials right now is, okay, fine. You want us to breastfeed? Then create some sort of a system for paid parental leave in the US. There's no workplace support for pumping. There's social stigma around public feeding. I saw this woman who was breastfeeding on a plane and she recorded this man next to her who was hostile saying that she was being sexual for breastfeeding her child.
That's
She would literally
disgusting.
record
Why
him
are men like this? Why do men have to make everything freaking disgusting?
because 'cause they're disgusting. There's no other way to say it. That's why men need muzzles that are in power
They
spreading
should
this
be
type
like,
of
as they're talking,
information.
somebody, like, appears in a suit and a little silver tray, and they're like and it's a muzzle. And they're like, "Congratulations, you just earned this
Ugh.
one."
Machismo in Latino culture, I thought that was, like, gonna be the worst of it that I would face in my life, but white supremacist misogyny is next level, is next level. There's no other way around that. I feel like within our culture, we fight back against machismo a lot. Like, Latina women are just like, "There's no room for that. You're not telling me what to do." Especially this generation. I feel like we're
Mhm,
so proud and loud about, like, "Hell no." But I'm seeing through, like, our administration and even, like, these white supremacist influencers. I don't know if you follow, like, Piers Morgan at all, but there was an interview where Nick Fuentes was on there, and he is a known white supremacist, which I don't know his background because his last name is Fuentes, so I'm very
mhm.
confused by that. But basically, he was saying women shouldn't have any type of political authority. Women's value is primarily reproductive and domestic. These men that keep trying to say, women, go back into your house and, tend to your family after we have full blown careers. LOL, you stay home. You
Mhm,
stay home because I
mhm,
probably make more money than you.
mhm. I know. My husband is dying for the day for me to be like, "Okay, you could be the stay-at-home dad." He's like, "Sign me up."
I thought you were going to say stay at home mom. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
he's, like,
that.
dying for that day.
My husband too, he brought it up the other day. I'm like, "No, you gotta keep earning." But, in the interview, Piers Morgan asked Nick Fuentes, do you like women? Are you attracted to women?" He's like, "Yes, but women are so hard to be around." And then Piers Morgan asked him, "Have you ever had sex with a woman?" And Nick Fuentes said, "No." And I'm just very confused by these, like, white nationalist influencers that are spreading this
Mhm.
like misogyny and basically trying to be authoritarian against like their views of what women should and shouldn't be. But this man has not even had sex with a
Well, I do
woman.
feel like this stems from, like, red pilling. Like, I watched this video, I think Vice did the video because Vice does some really they do some interesting journalism, and they did a video of a guy who left the red pill um, internet spiraling hole, and basically, like, that just explains everything. Him saying that women are so hard to be around, his hate for women, and at the end being like, "Well, he's never had sex." It's like, he's been rejected by women, and this all just, like, stems from, like, his being rejected by women, and now he's on TV talking about how all his hate.
The term red pilling comes from The Matrix, the movie, where the main character chose between a red pill that reveals an unsettling truth about reality and a blue pill that allows for continued blissful ignorance in an illusionary world. In modern internet culture, the term has been largely co opted and politicized, primarily in the manosphere and far right communities. Because I was like, what does this mean?
Mm,
There's, like, the alpha and the beta males,
mhm.
misogyny and radicalization, the belief that society is structured to favor women and that male privilege is a myth.
Yeah, it, like, basically
Ha
is
ha
saying, like,
ha
all
ha
your
ha.
problems stem from women, and it's not you, it's them, and it just, like, it's like a rabbit hole.
That is
It's like my
so
worst
ins
nightmare that, like, my son will go down that rabbit hole.
I'm reading a book called Boy Mom: Reimagining Boyhood in the Age of Impossible Masculinity. Fascinating. It's by Ruth Whitman. It's the first text of her that I read, but I'm on chapter 2 and I'm blown away by a lot of her observations. But a big thing that she talks about is her own biases against men and how feminism left boys behind, is like what her prologue
Mm,
talks about, which makes a lot of sense because
mm,
feminism, especially in the 90s, was all about, well, girls can do anything a boy can do. And so it empowered girls to be engineers, to be athletes, to do all the things that were, historically male driven. But what happened to the boys? There was no softening for the boys. There was no
mm,
like home ec classes teaching them to caregive, teaching them to like do softer things. And so then there's now this bias against boys. It's like they're just wild and I'm so sorry you're having a boy. That's so
mhm.
sad. Like it's they're so rambunctious, but there is an opportunity to rethink how we raise our boys that doesn't have to be tough love. Boys are more emotional than girls, I would argue, and need more softness and more talking to. And if they want to wear a dress, let them explore with what that looks like. They're not going to become trans for wearing a dress. You're teaching them softness. You're teaching them that you can do what girls can do and girls can do what boys can do and like get rid of gender, ideology and fear of your child being gay. I have news for people. If your child's going to be gay, he's going to be gay. Like
Yeah,
he was
there's
born with
nothing you can
that.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have a lot of feelings about it all. But this book is fascinating. But one thing that I think is interesting is thinking about machismo in Latin cultures and then this like white supremacist machismo, if you will. And they're different. I don't know if Nick Fuentes respects his mother by the way he
Right.
talks about women.
Right. I feel like there's no filter in machismo either, but I do feel like, in at least, like, in the Latin household, and at least in my household, the women are not afraid to be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," like, and then I feel like maybe in his household, he can say whatever he wants.
I've had family members be like, to my son, "Stop crying like a girl." I shut it down so quick. I'm like, "Absolutely not. Don't say that to my kid. No."
Mhm.
Like, and
Right.
everyone's taken aback, of course. And then it's like, tú eres tan agresiva. And it's like, well, don't say aggressive things to my kid. Sorry. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to be an apologist for you telling him that he can't cry like a girl. And that's another thing that the book talks about. It's like, boys telling boys being told things like that basically makes them already think like they can't be like a girl because girls
Mhm.
are not as good as them, and it creates
Right.
this weird superiority complex in them.
Like, subconsciously feeding that by just hearing things like that. Yeah, for sure. These white nationalists just, what the difference is that they have a microphone and they just go out here and, like, they just say it. If I had the audacity of a white man, I'd probably be farther along in life.
That was my motto this year. After having many bosses that have audacity and are unafraid to make these decisions, that sometimes I was like, what are you talking about right now? And people were like, "Oh my god, I love that idea." Yeah, I have been operating with the audacity of a white man or maybe a white woman, doesn't matter. Either way, as a white person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's just who is Nick Fuentes? What are his credentials anyway? This is what's so dangerous about the age that we're living in. Anybody can buy podcasting equipment like us and make podcasts with really strong allegations against any type of group of person. And if you have a big enough following, people are going to believe you and they're going to
Right.
follow that ideology. And so I worry about young people who don't have monitored social media and are just seeing all of this content on the internet and are being groomed online.
Like, takes away the free thinking
Mhm.
aspect because you're just, like, listening to all these things. I bet, that's what they want. They don't want you to think freely for yourself and have any thought. They just want you to listen to them and then believe them and be like, "Okay," without, like, doing any background research or thinking for yourself.
I don't
Mhm.
feel like we're in a place right now where men are I don't feel like bad behavior is being punished in men, and it makes me angry because women, especially women of color, have to work so much harder just to get where a white man is in a baseline level that it's infuriating to me. I'm tired of these like influencers like Nick Fuentes or this
Mhm.
administration spewing so much misinformation and like really deliberately trying to hurt women by like forcing breastfeeding. Men don't even know how women's bodies work. Think
Mhm.
JFK knows anything about a woman's body? Por favor. Por favor.
That's
There's
where we're
no
at with these
so
men.
much misinformation. I know, and you can't trust any of it. There is a video that's been circulating of a woman from Iowa who talks about that she's a very angry, conservative Christian woman because she was pregnant and she miscarried and she lives in Iowa, which is one of the restricted states for women's care. And she's like, they only gave me two options. Like, either I miscarry at home or like I just wait and see what happens. And they basically left her to like die because you can't get
Right.
abortion. And she's like, I can't believe this. And this was like another, like a progressive woman was like, commenting on it and she's like, why are you surprised? Because it affected
Mhm.
you, but you all
Mhm.
voted this is what you voted for and you thought that you would be the exception, but like this is an attack on women. This is not, no woman is exempt. It doesn't matter your skin color. If you have a uterus and ovaries, like you are affected by all of these policies and laws.
That's crazy.
I know. It just takes it happening to them before it's
Right.
like a
It's always like
problem.
that, yeah.
I
Like,
hate
that's how
that.
what was that girl? Like, the girl that does the podcast that's called The Really Good Podcast by Bobby Althaf. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. This girl was quiet about everything, quiet about ICE, quiet about this, until I think it was, like, somebody very close to her that she grew up with and went to church with, like a Mexican man, got deported. And then when he got deported is when she went on and was like, talking all this stuff about ICE and, like, being very vocal now about ICE. Then she was like, "Donald Trump, I want you to come on my podcast because I think you just need to, like, speak to someone who thinks different." Like, she just went on this whole thing about politics, and I was like, "Funny, like, you've been very quiet up until now. Now it affected you, and now you wanna talk about it."
It's really just misogyny and white nationalism that is causing the divide. And I wish people would just like wake up to see it because this woman's like, I'm a conservative religious woman and this is
Uh-huh.
an attack. And it's like, stop looking at politics from the lens of religion. Look at
I know.
politics from the lens of policy, what's being passed and what's going on.
But you know what's crazy is that I feel like, let's say, like, in 2001 and thousands, everybody was very against those Middle Eastern countries that strongly practice their politics in close ties with their religion, and
Hmm.
we're literally becoming them.
Oh, I just think the audacity of these people to want to say that public school is indoctrinating children and then trying to push a religious agenda, like the whole voucher program in Florida for education. You can get a voucher from the state, you get X amount of money per kid, and you can use that money to go to any school. So they're basically taking federal money that is allotted for every child in Florida for religious schools.
It is crazy because they act like Christianity is the sole religion in this country as if, like, there's not a million other people that practice a million other things.
Yeah. And you want to be super Christian? Release the freaking Epstein files. Release all of these pedophiles in Hollywood or like in power because there's so many of them. I see huge numbers of Christian pastors coming out with child pornography or having sexually assaulted young girls. Same goes with the Catholic religion, same goes with every religion.
Mhm,
If you guys are so high and mighty, why aren't you protecting the kids? Instead, you're protecting the men and you're
mhm.
upholding the patriarchy.
It's hard out here, it's hard.
So, do I hate men? Going back to that question. I just think there's a lot of bad behavior that the patriarchy protects men.
Mhm.
And until that changes, I don't know how I feel about men.
It's not all men, but
It's
it's
not all
always a
men.
man. That's
It's
how I
not
feel,
all white men, but it's always a white man.
but it's always a man, but it's not all men. That's what I say when my husband asks me if I hate men. I'm
It's
like, "The
not all
facts
men, but
are"
it's always a man.
The facts are
Yeah, we don't hate men, but it's always a
But why is
man.
it always a man?
Yeah. The last thing I want to say is Lily Allen's album. I just cannot. Okay, we've talked about it for the last 3 episodes, and I recognize that, but the storytelling, it's been so long since I've listened to an album from first song to last song. It's telling me a story. You can listen to them individually, but you will never grasp the thread line unless you listen to that whole album. And I've had the privilege of time to listen to it full a few times. And I'm just like, my God, she goes from them being together to moving in together, her getting this job, him being jealous of her getting this job. She has to move to London. He's in New York. He calls her. He wants an open relationship. She's ruminating and going through her own thoughts.
That song Tennis, because it's not about
Like,
tennis. Like, it's not
what?
actually tennis.
I
Yeah,
thought she was his tennis coach.
me too. So I thought at first I'm like, "Oh, they're playing tennis." Like I really took it literal, but really what it means is that you're texting back and forth like you're playing tennis. Like it's a back and forth. So
Oh.
she's like, "I can't believe that you're, like, having this emotional connection with this person and you're playing tennis." And I was just like,
Uh,
"Wow, she's an artist."
she dude, you just go through the journey with her,
Yeah.
and I think that that's lost today with albums. It's been, like I said, a long time
Mhm.
since you can listen to an album and the story is bringing you through all these waves of just anger. When she's sad, you can feel her
Mhm.
sadness through, like, the songs, and yeah, there's no comeback for that guy.
I couldn't even watch Stranger Things. I was like, "Do not put this man on my screen right now."
I mean, I watched it and I was like, "Hopper." Ugh.
Yeah, and I'm
He's
just
not
like,
even that hot to be acting like that. The
to be
white
having this,
man.
like, sex addict situation that he has, I'm just like, yeah, it's crazy, but it was great. It was really great.
She's an incredible artist. She talked about how, like, she had kids and it kinda ruined her career because she had to take a pause for a long time, but this was, like, her comeback album.
And it was a comeback.
It was such a comeback. So if you haven't heard it yet, please tell us what you think because I'm obsessed. I've told everyone I know, there's so much tea here. You gotta listen to this album.
So good. Yeah, if you love teen, it's a great album.
So Lily, keep on keeping on, girl. We need these albums. Even us
Mhm.
married girls, we need this album.
Yes. Another thing I wanted to talk about while we're on Cafecito and Chisme situation is Fade, his glow up. Oh my God, who is he? I
That
was
man
like, why
was
didn't I
not hot
appreciate
before. That
Okay, I
man
was
was
like,
not
why didn't
hot.
I appreciate you?
Yeah, Fade looks very hot. He definitely got work done. Or
What
is it just
work?
he changed his
No,
facial?
I think he has a beard now. You talk about women catfishing. Men are the ultimate.
Yo,
Just put
cut
a
that
beard.
beard. Cut that beard. Let's see it. Let's see what's
Yeah.
under there.
I
My
think literally he
gosh.
just has a beard. He looks great.
He looks great. Yeah. And him and Carol are never breaking up. I feel like there's a lot of rumors every, like, couple of months that it's like it's over between them, and it's like they're just not talking about it publicly, but
Yeah, I think they're just living their lives.
I love them together.
Me too.
Well, anyways, primas, thank you for chismeando with us. Let us know what you think about our topic today, about things men in power say that require a muzzle. Should we keep doing this segment? I don't know, but thanks for listening to us. I miss you, Gigi.
Miss you too.
Love you, primas. We'll see you next time.
Bye.